We have something new in the channel. Look at what arrived. I got a package from Thrustmaster and we're going to talk about that today. Thrustmaster was so nice to send me a package and they sent the T.16000M so that we can check it out for X4 and other potential space games. Just to be sure at the start, although Thrustmaster has sent me this, there is no payment involved. I don't need to say anything and they do not see the video beforehand. So let's go and take a look at this beautiful thingy here, which you already can see on my table. You saw the unboxing. There's not really that much in the box. There is the throttle and there's the joystick, and there was another thing in here which is made for changing the joystick to left-handed. Let's go very quickly about the stuff that the HOTAS brings and which you can utilize in your game. The joystick itself has got 16 buttons. We have 12 around here, which you can see there are 6 on the other side. They are the same. You have 4 buttons on the joystick itself, the fire button. Then you have a directional pad into 4 directions, not 8, it's just 4. You also have a throttle on here if you're only buying. So there are a few options which you can get this system here. I do have the one with the external throttle. There is one with only the joystick, and there's also another one with some pads for the feet. So that is basically the medium system right here. And if you're only buying the joystick yourself, nothing else, then you have a throttle there. You have 16 buttons which you can use, and that's basically enough for a lot of games out there where you don't need to adjust the throttle that good. You only go full speed or full stop. That's all you got to do in these games. Then you have a joystick which also works into rotation direction, and that's about it. If we take the throttle in here too, the throttle itself is one that works forward and backwards. You have some more stuff on this thing, like for example 2 buttons there. You can also see it here, 2 buttons here. This one here is a knob that goes up and down. You can see this goes up and down. And one directional knob here. We will take a look at what you can use this one here for. I have some very good ideas for that. Then you have one of these things, your rudders basically, and a few things for your thumb, which is very good made. You can see that in here. We have 3 different knobs, also with 4 directions, up, down, forward, backwards. And every single one has got a different shape, so that if you're using it with your thumb, you will always recognize it by the shape of itself. What are you using? And then one more button down here. Since I'm playing a lot of X4 and you know me for X4, we will take a look at these things here, especially in X4, and what you can do with them. I will also give you some insights on what I think would be nice to have on your joystick and where to put stuff for immediate use and some stuff for optional use, so that you basically don't need to use your keyboard and mouse that often anymore, especially the keyboard. We will try to get rid of the keyboard as much as we can. Woo! Oh, by the way, a little bit about the connection. We have both of these things which are using USB connectors. If you are low with USB connectors, there is a small little thing which you could buy. That's a USB hub. Just plug in your stuff into the USB hub, plug the USB hub in, and you're basically saving one single USB connection there. So for now, let's plug these things into my USB connector and we will go into the game. First thing we're gonna do is to take a look at the options. And if you take a look at manage controllers, you will see that the T.16000M and the TWCS throttle, which is this one thing here, is already connected and already configured. There's one more thing that Egosoft thought about, and it is that this system is very well known in the space game community, and even I got this system exactly recommended by a lot of the community members when I'm asking them what kind of HOTAS to use or which one to get for space games. A lot of them tell me Thrustmaster T16000 is the best one to get for the money that you spend. And so I'm very, very glad that Thrustmaster decided to send me exactly this system. And what I'm talking about is that this system is so well known that Egosoft already put a profile into the game. There is already a Thrustmaster T16000 FCS HOTAS profile. So we load this one with a double click, load this profile, yes, and everything should be already done. With that configuration, we go into the game and take a look at the default settings that Egosoft put onto this device and what they thought is usable for it. So here we are in our cookery. You can walk with that thing. You can walk forward, backwards, left and right. So let's take the cockpit and then see what we can do. The throttle already works. You can see it working there, going back and forward. That is something to get used to, that there is some room behind the 0 position of your throttle. Well, there is also a button to stand still, which I can also show you. Then we have this thing that I showed you, up and downwards, upwards, flight assist disabled, another one upwards, flight assist enabled again. Now if we press it downwards, there you go. That's your full stop, even if the throttle is showing completely forward. If you want to fly again, just take the throttle, move it a little bit, and you're flying again. Another thing is this knob here, this one, that is for strafing. Strafing left, strafing right. Can you see it? Strafing down, strafing upwards. I will change that in a second. Then we have this rudder here, which is the magnet at this position. Then we have a few of these knobs on here. I already showed you these knobs. They are all different. The second one does change your modes. So you have travel mode on top, scan mode to the front, downwards CETA, and backwards long range scan. Then we have a knob at the bottom. We have an autopilot. If we go upwards, another one upwards, and the autopilot is disabled. Forward doesn't do anything. Backwards, it changes your HUD radar. And downwards, which I don't really like, is getting up. We have to change that so that we don't accidentally leave the seat while in the middle of a fight. We don't really want to have that. Then there is one single more button down here. Prominent button there, and this button is your boost. We'll also change that. Let's take a look at the joystick, what the joystick can do. Of course, if you're firing, that's your standard fire button. Left, right, downwards, upwards. That's how you would fly in a plane. You also have rolling left, rolling right. So nothing really special there. Everything's there. Let's take a look at the buttons, which are here. All the special buttons, I will show you them here. So first one does nothing. Second one, nothing. Third one, the other side, the same. Nothing, nothing, nothing. None of these buttons do anything at the start. That's bad because you have to configure them yourself. But in the end, that's a lot of customization. That's 12 buttons which are not configured. 12 buttons which we can use to make our gameplay better. On top, we have some more buttons. We have 2 at the top. Let's press the one left, which is a full stop. You have a full stop also on your joystick, not only on this one here. One more thing that I really want to show you is this throttle here is right now disabled, which is very nice because it's disabled because we have the big one here connected. And that means when the system recognizes that the big throttle is there, you will not have the issue with this one here is overwriting your flying. Then we have the top right one is for your missiles. At the moment, we're out of ammo. Then we have the top middle button, which doesn't do anything. At least at the moment, maybe we're missing some equipment or whatever. Then we have the knob on top, The first one on top is a new target. Left one is changing this systems here. And a right knob is changing the systems on the right. Downwards, I don't know what that does. Maybe some targeting for enemies. Maybe next enemy or something. And that were basically already all the buttons that are on the system. And now I want to reconfigure all of these buttons and see what we can do good things with it. First thing that you can change if you don't really like the option to fly backwards with your throttle, you can change the bidirectional throttle onto off. And if you have it off, when you go back to your game, the whole range of your throttle is just going forward. Completely at the back, it's 0. Completely at the front, it's 100%. And that's all you got. That way you can't fly backwards, but maybe you don't need it. A few minutes later, and we configured a lot of things new on these systems. One thing that I changed is this little button there. So this one here is now game paused very easily. I did change a few things. I got this knob here working for something that I intended to have. And this knob now is a look around. I think this one here is way more suited to be a look around than being strafing. Strafing is now this one here to the left and to the right. Strafing upwards and downwards is something that I only use when landing on a pad. So I put it on this one thing here. Oops. This one here is now downwards and upwards strafing. These two buttons are now especially for the throttle itself, not some magnets or whatever. This is now boosting and standing still. So you have that with your two smaller fingers. I like it. And this one here, as I said, is now to 0 position right at the end. Perfect. Everything else is like it was before. This little knob here, the D-pad, this is targeting. So upwards is targeting the next object in front. Forwards is the next target. Backwards is the last target. And downwards is the next surface object. This one here is still the 4 modes. This one here is also still what it was before. So you can also stop the guidance there. Or you can turn on the autopilot here or get off your seat and stuff. Really interesting changes is on the joystick. The joystick has now everything that you need to get your hands off the keyboard. I rerouted some of these buttons, like for example, the top right one is now a magnet. As you can hear, that's the magnet. The middle top button is the secondary weapon. We do not have a secondary weapon group. So this one here is first group. And we could get the secondary weapon by just pressing this here now. You go into the menu, put your secondary weapon here, and one press again on there, and you have your secondary there. Really cool if you do not want to change constantly between your groups and you're using different kind of weapons for different kind of targets. Like maybe you are lazy or so and you are opening a lot of containers, then just put one single laser onto your secondary group and you can fly around and shoot that container with your secondary while your main weapon is still all of the weapons you got. Then I got a scan target on the left top button because that's something that I use more often than match speed, what it was before. And we do have now these kind of buttons. They are all now menu buttons. So we're going from the top left, which is giving you information. This one here is always going backwards, or this one will open up the ship menu. Going back, the top middle button is now your inventory. The top right button is now your properties. The lower left button is now missions. And the middle button is just your map. On the other side, we have some more buttons. I do have, for example, the escape menu there. Then we have a toggle view button. I do have a zoom in and zoom out because I used to make a lot of pictures, and that's why I also have a toggle HUD button on here. Picture mode also works with this knob here. I can use this, changing the camera angle. And then I got something, if you're toggling through some targets, and you want to have the quick access menu, for example, for comm, channel, or whatever, I also have a button enabled. This here, that is the quick access menu. When I press that, it doesn't matter where the target is. I will always get it wherever my mouse is. So that's really easy. I press that. I can do whatever I like. Close it. So that way I need the keyboard the least amount of time that I need to. I still need to use the mouse. The mouse is essential in this game. Although the switch between going from your HOTAS onto your mouse is not that hard anymore. So I'm flying around. I'm doing stuff. You know, I'm taking a look around. Very cool. I'm strafing. I'm landing and whatever. And then I'm like, wait a moment. I need to press pause. I need to go to the map. I'll take my mouse and do stuff. I click back on here. Game pause is gone. And I can move on and fly around. That's what we will gonna do in the next few streams. That's just the start of our journey with the HOTAS. This is something completely new for me. Never used the HOTAS before. I think that there is a lot of stuff for customization, enough buttons and everything on this thing so that we can give it a try, have some more fun. And I think this will benefit the game a lot. This will also feel a lot better. I will give you this screen while we're playing. Also, you will see it somewhere around so that you know which buttons we're pressing and however you using it. Also in other games, X4 is just one example because you know me for it. So after a while, I will also give my review. This was just an introduction to the system. Thank you so much for watching. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe. My name's Captain Collins. This is Space Operations Delta. Thanks so much for being here and see you soon in X4 Foundations and other space games on twitch.tv/Captain Collins. Have a good one. See you soon.